So this video is going to be on steps 5 through 8, which specifically cover changing the slide background color. All right, so what we're going to be doing right now, what we're going to be doing for the very first step is still on that Slide Master tab, and I'll show that to you when we switch over to PowerPoint. All I have you doing in this step is just clicking on this little arrow to expand your options, and I'll show you what happens when you do that. All right, so here on the Slide Master tab, you're just going to come over here to Background. This is the background section of the ribbon on Slide Master, and here's that little arrow right there. So we're just going to do a quick left click on that. And what that does is instead of bringing up like a drop down or a big window, it just brings this panel over here on the right hand side for formatting your background. Let's go ahead and take a look at step 6. All right, so in this panel, and I just have a picture of this, what I'm going to have you do is click on the radio button for gradient fill, and then we're going to select your colors over here under preset gradients. All right, so right now this is solid fill, and if you kept solid fill, I'll just show you what that looks like. Let's say we choose a dark blue color. This is just a very solid blue behind everything, and because we did it to this top slide, every slide below it, so this is the top level and you can see the dotted line down and then these little boxes off to the side. That means that these are sub boxes, almost like they're sub bullets under this main one. So anything you do on this slide affects every formatting slide below it. All right, so step 6 wants you to click on Gradient Fill and then go ahead and look at the preset gradients. These are different colors and different styles. This one is like lighter in the center and gets darker on the outside. This one is lighter at the bottom and goes darker in almost a triangular pattern. This is the opposite of that, where it's lighter at the top in sort of a triangular pattern and gets darker at the bottom. And you can see if you just click on these that you will wind up with that color and that style of gradient. Now every time I click these, you'll notice that these are changing. Okay, so I'll switch to the pink, and you can see those. Switch down here to the blue. You've got 4 of them. Each one of these is a different color in a different position. So let me show you what happens really quickly if I change this to something like red. So what's happening here is that this left side is in the very center and it's coming out. This is in a radial. So you can see that red is in the very center, and here's this blue. The blue is right here. So in between red and blue, the gradient is shifting from blues to reds, which means it goes across the purple spectrum because red and blue make purple. If we move this farther out, we'll see that that red has longer to spread into the blue. So that this tab right here is about that location. We can make that red really small by pulling that gradient in right to the center. So it's just got a little bit less room to go from red to blue. And you can tell which one of these is selected by the yellow line around the outside. So if we change that to something green, and we change this to blue, and we change this to orange. By the way, don't ever do this. These are horrible colors together. But I just want to show you what these gradients look like across this bar and what that then looks like on the slide. But let's go ahead and undo everything I just did. And this is a great example of when to use the undo button. We're just going to put everything back to where it was. All right, once you have selected the colors you want, and I am going to go ahead and make these a little bit darker just because I want to have a stronger difference between my background color and my text color. It's really important with any presentations that you do that you have either a really dark background with light colored letters or a really light colored background with dark letters. Right now we've got a fairly dark blue, not too dark, but you can see that the black words on this are really not standing out well. So I'm going to go ahead and make this background even darker, And then a few steps from now, we're going to be changing this color of the text to something lighter. Now the way you select these to change the colors is you just click on the little tab, and you see that as I left click on each one of them, it has a little yellow on the outside. This is the darkest color, then it goes a little medium, and then into the lightest colors. I want these light colors to be even darker, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over here to more colors, and you can either choose standard colors or custom. What I often like to do is go for these dark colors and then customize based on them, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go for this darkest blue. I don't want that to be radial, I want it to be linear. Alright, so that's a pretty dark color, I like that, and I'm going to start going even darker now. So I'm going to click on this one, come over here to the color, so now we're just affecting that. Now this is the color that I just created, okay? But with it selected, I'm going to click on more colors, and I'm now going to come to custom. And you'll see down here this square that says current and new, and right now it's all one color, okay? This is representing the shades of blue. If I grab this little triangle, left click and hold, and drag it down a little bit, you'll see that that new color just got a little darker. So that's what it started out as, and I've just made it a little darker. And we know that this color is the same as this one. So this tab will now be a little darker than that original one, which is what we're looking for. Alright, so now I just say OK, and now I'm going to come here. Once again, I'm going to select, well, I can just grab this one because it's the most recent one I used, which means it's the same as this. And I can now go back to it and select more colors and drag it down even darker. And you'll see that's what it started out as, and this is now the new darker blue. I'll say OK. So now it's even darker. And we're left with this one last color that used to be our darkest color and now is our lightest color. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, do what I just did over here. Grab that really dark blue, and then do more colors, and same deal here. This is the original color. Drag it down, and as long as you don't go all the way to the bottom, you're not in black. All the way at the top is white, all the way at the bottom is black, no matter what color it is you're playing with. So if you come up just a little bit, you now have a very dark blue that is a blue, and you can see that it is darker than that last one that we had. So now I'll just go ahead and say OK. And now I have a very nice blue that goes from a deep blue to a very dark blue in that bottom corner. And they're all the same shade because each time I selected that same color and just made it a little darker by using more colors and this custom tab. Okay? Now you can do things like move it around, but as soon as you start moving it around on here, if you're trying to match shades, you're going to have a difficult time totally getting it right. So I'm going to cancel that and just make sure we don't pick up that color. You can make sure that you're using the same blue tones, just going a little lighter or darker simply by selecting that same color and then just dragging this triangle up and down. So it's still going to be the same tone, just a little bit darker or lighter. Alright, now step 7 says to go ahead and play around with these things. I'm going to show you really quickly how to play with some of these. If you want one of these to go away, you just click on the one you want to go away, come over here, and hit that button to make it go away. I don't want it to go away, so I'm going to hit undo because I want it back. Now you can either click on Add Gradient Stop to add a new one, hit undo, or with adding, you can just come over here and click right where you want a new one. And we could even make that, just to show you where it shows up, I'll make it yellow. Trust me, don't do this. I just wanted to show you where that shows up and how it looks. You could also make it black if you want to, and have sort of a black stripe through it. I don't like that. I'm going to hit undo. I'm also going to get rid of it completely. There. I just hit undo a few times until we were back to where we started. So you can go ahead and play with positions and transparencies and brightnesses and the types and the directions. Let's go kind of vertical. All right, once you're happy with it, you can just click Apply to All, although it's already applied. And to close the format background, if you don't want this to show up on the right-hand side, you just click this little X. You don't click on this top X, that would close your entire presentation. This little X down here is specifically the close button for this panel. And as soon as you close that, it's gone. To get it back, all you'd have to do is come back and click on this little arrow in the background panel. So that opens it, this closes it. And that's it for step 8.